Hey, this is crazy, Dr. George Wallace. You know I'm in town. I'm in Memphis. I'm listening to the best show I ever heard, whatever the name of it is. I think they call it Sports Call. That's what it is. Isn't that right, Bill?
I just want to celebrate another day of living. I just want to celebrate another day of life. Put my faith in the people, everybody but the people let me down. So I try the other way and carry on anyhow. Yes, I do. That's what I'm telling you. Good afternoon, sports fans. This is a sports call where you don't have to play a sport.
To be a sport.
We welcome you to the show here on this beautiful, warm Monday. And I want to thank Shane, our producer, for joining me and partnering with me with the board over there, just working everything like he's supposed to. I'll be glad when he starts doing that. And then I couldn't resist. He's in a good mood because Tennessee put it on the Wildcats this past week. I was kind of worried, but I actually thought that Tennessee was kind of overrated. Especially when they went into bluegrass country and got beaten up by the Wildcats the last time. But I'm going to tell you what's the truth. Rick Barnes, the coach of the Volunteers, had his guys playing basketball Saturday. I watched that game, the entire game. It was excellent. It was a good game.
It was a good game.
All right, now you sent me a text, Shane.
That's
and
right.
You said something about some players being moved around, Turner going here, something Bones over here, this kind of thing. What were you trying to tell me? Because like I said, I don't understand the mechanics because I'm not into Tennessee as much as I'm into, say Georgia. But could you tell me what you meant by the players being moved around? Did it help? Is that what happened, or did he go back to the way it was? Tell me what that scenario is all about.
Basically, okay, for a good portion of the season, guard Lamonte Turner, he was out with a shoulder injury. He had a nagging shoulder injury that was bothering him, and he came back for a few minutes in several games, and then he'd sit out a couple weeks or whatever. And I believe he had surgery on that shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, but Bone and Bowden were the starters. Okay, Lamonte Turner last season basically came off the bench as the sixth man.
Right.
Well, this year, Lamonte Turner was injured, so Bone and Bowden they meshed together very well in the early part of the season.
That's what's been going on right now.
And that's during that winning streak. I believe it was
don't
like
lose your
13
position.
or
You'll never
14. It was like they had got up to 13, and then Turner returned. Well, then they started barely, hanging on, winning games, but they were winning. And, I think when Lamonte Turner came back, he wasn't 100% still.
And he's trying to do some catch-up.
Yeah, and that right there, I think it kind of threw him off somewhat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And now that Turner, he's still, I don't think 100%.
But do you think he would be good coming off the bench now througut the rest of this
I
season
think so.
because of the way the other two have been playing well?
And then all of a sudden, Turner he begins starting the games.
Yeah.
And Bowden's coming off the bench, and I just don't. And then Bowden starts struggling. I just don't think Bowden was embracing that 6-man role, and I think that's kind of why
to say the least, yeah.
Why they kind of started slacking somewhat.
All right, so the players better than I do, like I said. So one day I'll do a sports show. Anyway, so did Turner play a lot in this game against Kentucky Saturday?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And he made a contribution. Obviously, everybody did.
Mm-hmm.
Grant, is it?
But Bowden did step up, and Bone stepped up.
Yeah, like you said,
Bowden
they meshed
hit some
together.
clutch threes, got a couple of alley-oop jam from Grant Williams. I think he started to embrace that role possibly. And I think Barnes, maybe I think he should give them equal time. You know what I'm saying? I think Bowden and Turner should play some, and I think Bone and Bowden should play some, and I think Bone and Turner should play. So I mean,
who was the one that was hitting those shots? That was Bone, wasn't it? He was coming
Josh
up and
Bone.
just pulling up and just pulling them.
Yeah, that kid right there. His brother played for Tennessee back when Bruce Pearl was there.
All right,
Josh
so that
Bone.
was a good game. They put it together. They played hard. I think there's 6 men on the court with them, and they weren't called in violation for that. Was the team, the fans. The fans were all in that game. They were.
It was rowdy, man.
So it works. I mean, it really helps to have home court advantage, unless you're just absolutely terrible. And then if you are, then it doesn't matter where you're playing. If you play on the asphalt, you're still going to get beat badly.
The thing with Tennessee and Kentucky, you're going to each other's houses to play. Some years they get that draw where they only play once.
Sure. Oh yeah.
But like I think 2 years ago they got that. I think they played at Kentucky, and we went in there and beat them. But now they got the 2 games against each other, and you're going to each other's. You're going to Lexington and playing, and you're going to Knoxville. Hey, Knoxville now is you don't go in there and just win. You're going in there and you're going to get beat up. That's what's going to happen.
Well, listen, let's move on to the Memphis Tigers, the men's basketball. I'll tell you what, there was, the recap of the Cincinnati, Memphis-Cincinnati game. That's a good game. If we'd have pulled that game out, wouldn't that have been nice? That would have been. That would have been. See, that would have given us a strong position to be invited to the big dance, not to the NIT. They'll make it to the NIT, and they'll do that for the news that's actually on the periphery. And I'm saying this because of Penny Hardaway, the coach, the new coach, the rookie coach, the freshman coach, the coach. That was an NBA All-Star and would have done so many more wonderful, great things had he not hurt his knee when he was playing in the NBA. He was some kind of good to everybody. I probably forgot that already, but when you get when the Nike Corporation comes and takes you early, you've already made the grade with them, and they came out with this little penny because if you look at Anthony Hardaway, you'll see how pleasant he is and how he looks and all. So he didn't have that, like Russell Westbrook kind of attitude. Nothing wrong with it because he proves it. He backs it up. So they had to he had to have an alter ego to be able to compete in the commercial. So they used a little penny, which was a great ad campaign. So anyway,
that really was. That was
one of the best.
Genius.
But they used Chris Rock's voice, and which he was very popular at the time, and so that worked well. And of course, once you start losing visibility, and the only one who's ever made it past, and it's been years since. A lot of years since Michael Jordan retired, and he still has a contract with Nike and some of these other big companies but because he's a billionaire.
Yeah,
smart man, except he can't coach. He can be it's like tennis. See, tennis it's crazy. I see people who say, "Oh, there's this trainer." I'm not his trainer, but there's this let's just say Agassi's coach. And you go look, and you say, well, that guy doesn't look like much. I've never seen him before. There's so many people who know the game, the mathematics of tennis, to the point they can teach these players how to play with a purpose and not just get out there like us recreation players and just hit the ball and hope your opponent misses and that you don't miss. And that is, but no, there's a science to that game as well. and you don't recognize these guys. Well, there's guys who could play tennis, but they can't play on the pro level, but they can coach like a genius. And that's the same thing. You do not see these players. They help out a little bit, like Ivan Lendl's come back. And I think right now, Ivan Lendl is helping Alexander Zverev, but Boris Becker comes back, and I think for a year worked with, Djokovic.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's gone now and went back to what brought him to the party before. But sometimes you'll take a guy who's a big name, and because they've won about 6 or 7 Grand Slams, they must know something. So they can prep these guys for the next big Grand Slam tournament coming up. They want somebody. It doesn't work as much as you think. So what these guys do that can't teach it because they can play it, they can't teach it. So they go and they become the name on some country club somewhere, like the Elin Nastasi Country Club. And he has his name there. He's part of it. People go there. They take their vacations there. They hope that they'll get the hit with Elin Nastasi. It's not going to happen. I mean, every once in a while he'll come on, but then he'll, and give, maybe twice a year he'll walk on the court with somebody. But other than that, no. Oh, okay. We got phone calls?
Yeah, that's right. We got Unforgetful on the line.
Oh, well, let's talk to Big Unforgetful. You're on the show. Thank you for calling.
Hey, thank you, Bill.
Sure.
It's been a long time for me to say this. I went through all the Josh Pastor years.
Yes.
I went through all the Tubby years.
Right.
And now, here it is. I don't have to go anymore. But Coach Holloway got it going on, man. We finally coming back to the way we used to be.
It's great, isn't it? It feels
good.
It feels
so good, man. I'm just saying, we might not go to the NCAA tournament.
The big one, the 64, 68, whatever it's called. Would they add any more games?
We could go to the NIT.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say this. At least we know when you come to Memphis or we go there, you got a game on you.
That's right.
We don't lay down anymore. We don't bluff anymore. We are for real.
Yeah. But you see, wait a minute. Unforgetful, listen. But I have callers who call up and say, wait a minute. Under Tubby Smith, they won 22 games. That's a winning season. I don't understand.
But we didn't really play anybody. And plus, when we did play them, we basically played 1 or 2 games.
Yeah.
But lately, we've been playing people, man, tough.
Yes, we have. And I'm going to tell you.
Game, the way Tiger Nation is supposed to be.
Right.
I mean, we've been getting blown out and everything. This ain't been happening now.
Well, listen, they couldn't close. They couldn't close under the other regimes. I'm talking about close the games out. You remember we got beat by Connecticut? We were up like about 6 points with a minute to go, and we still lost to Connecticut. This was about 2 or 3 years ago. I'm trying to remember. We should have won that game, but I'm using this to say. I'm saying that to say this is that we close games out now.
Right.
That's a winning way. And I wish I could say that for our other professional team in town, the Grizzlies. They can't close. Look at these scores. They're so close to winning, and they can't win. They lost this week. Their last game was to the Clippers. Should have won that game. Could have won that game. And then, of course, we lose by 2 to the Bulls the other night. That's ridiculous. They're not tanking, believe me, not yet. The Mavericks will tank. We're not tanking, but it won't be long before we probably will start tanking. Well, that's just a shame.
When you talk about the Grizz, all they need to do is get rid of their coach.
Absolutely.
Get a powerhouse coach.
We're the powerhouse coaches. Look, it's a combination of powerhouse coaching and power players. You've got to have the studs. You've got to have the stallions out there that can get it done.
Well, that's right. That's true. But, I think we got some players out there that can be developed.
I think we do have some good ones right now. We don't know them yet.
Become that. Because when you talk about the Grizz, I'm just looking at the future.
That's fine.
Not right now and right then. But, let's say Tennessee. Tennessee, I'm tired of it. I hate to say this since I'm down here in Memphis, But I'm proud of you. You did something.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, you got blowed out by Kentucky. And then when you met them again, you took care of business.
That's exactly right. Almost by the same number. I don't know what was the you know right off what the point deficit was.
No, 16, I believe.
16, and we lost about the same number, didn't we? I say we as in Tennessee, but we lost in the first game, or was that against Kentucky, or was that about 18 or more?
Well, it will be interesting when they meet.
About the same.
And the whatever, the Elite 8, Sweet 16, whatever.
Yeah.
What, they're going to be on neutral floor, and we'll see what happens.
But why would that matter?
If that happens.
Well, I agree, and I said this earlier in the show, that the fans are the sixth man on the floor, and the refs can't do a thing about it. What that means is the fans get in the head of the opponents, which is great, but they did the same thing to our guys when we were in Kentucky.
Hey, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Did you listen to the show before your show came on, that SB Nation Sports Announcement?
A little bit. Sometimes I don't. I'm prepping.
What's his name? Tyree who?
I don't know.
The one that got ejected from the game because he looked at another player just because, he was doing this thing.
Yeah, I seen this. I can't do any more than say. I
just want to say, I agree with him 100%. The NBA, man, y'all don't have a responsibility.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Look at the official and got a T. I remember that. They don't deserve that kind of protection. They do not.
Yeah,
get paid what they get paid.
I mean, if a person physically touched somebody, hurt somebody, even if it's a ref or a player, then I can understand that. But because of the way a person look at you, you want to eject him?
Oh, yeah. See, now they're in your mind.
That's disrespectful to the player, man, and the fan. And if the NBA is turning that way, man, I'm really going to quit.
Well, let Adam Silver. Who are these meshy men? These feminine men who take over and do, what is that about? And he looks like, he may be a brilliant lawyer, but does that mean he has to do what he shouldn't be? He should, you know what? They ought to have two commissioners. One that's a blue collar and then one that's a white collar. One who handles all the litigation and all that stuff, that's fine. But you need another commissioner who's in there with the rank and file.
Well, the way I look at it, they need to do it in a way like the NFL do it. I think they need to take the text away from the ref on the floor. If they call the text and the coach of the team, the opposite side of the team, he could get in touch with the head ref that might be looking at the game through a monitor and tell if it's okay or no. Because that ain't right, man. That ain't completely wrong.
Can you imagine how long that game would last?
Well, let it last.
Oh, no, I can't stand it.
You come to a point where it could be like the University of Memphis.
Well, here's the thing, though. I know I'm forgetful, but listen.
It could come to a one-ball, one-possession situation.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, because this is
you can't really, sometimes trying to correct something, you end up messing up the stew. You add another ingredient, and that wasn't right. So, and a lot of times these guys deserve text. Now, you don't know what might have been going on before all that. It could have been words under his breath while he was standing on the foul line, saying something to the ref or saying something to his teammate about the ref. They're not stupid. They know I did it for 30 years. And then they finally just pushed him. And when you looked at him, it was, it was insubordination. So there was more to it than just that one-time look, because the ref usually walks away from anywhere there's going to be a controversy.
Well, it's just more to it than that one-time look. He should have stopped it from the beginning.
Well, he probably said something. Listen, I don't know. You got to
put it in the mix, then start calling when the game is on the line or anything like that. That don't go. No, that's wrong.
It's wrong to us, but I'm going to tell you, but listen, they get you where it hurts the most. He was building this scenario up to where it ended up being to where, okay, just wait. The time will come, and you'll do something, and it'll be right about the time I'm gonna do something about it. Listen, these guys get away with a lot. I mean, I've never seen anybody travel and never get the call than Mike Jordan. And the files and stuff. I mean, he was absolutely pampered, and you know that because he was the meal ticket for
Well,
the
you
NBA. They wanted him to stay in the game.
You know, referees now, I look at them, they hold grudges against coaches from last year player, whatever it might be.
That's true. That's human nature.
And then when they get in that situation, they start calling things the other way. See, that ain't fair. You know.
Well, shame on the ref if he can't leave it, in the gym when it's over. I mean, that's just shame on him. You just don't do that. You do not hold grudges. Let me tell you one who did. You remember Joey Crawford? He was older. He was already too old. So he'd been there long enough. I think he thought he was bulletproof too. But when he had that run in with Tim Duncan, you remember you don't walk over to the bench. He's sitting on the bench and you start talking to him and stuff. He's not even in the game. And he's arguing with they reprimanded him. They took him out of the rest of the season. So I mean they get reprimanded. They sure do. But Joey Crawford, he went nuts after a while. Really, he just thought he was doing whatever he thought he could because he was Joey Crawford. Not the black Joey Crawford, the white Joey Crawford.
Well, they need to correct that issue there dealing with these refs because it just ain't right, man. Some crazy stuff's going on.
Yeah, I'm certain of it.
You're really hurting the coaches and these players, future.
Yeah.
It just ain't right, man.
I know, but here's the money has caused this problem because once you get the financial protection, once you get the professional, or rather, these guys got security, financial security. They got all this going on, and
you talking about the refs?
The players, and they begin to not the refs. The players begin to feel like they're inoculated from from the rules and the status quo, and that's not right.
Okay, let me ask you something, Bill. I want to ask you this, and tell me what happened. Do you know anything about it? The referee that had the LSU jersey holding up in the air and stuff.
Yeah. And he was with another team.
Actually,
are you still ref?
I think he was reffing in the Tennessee-Kentucky game this weekend.
Yeah.
So he's still ref.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was,
he's still appointed by the NCAA, and he's still refereeing games.
We don't know if he'll be in the tournament, though.
No, I'm talking about he's still refereeing games.
Most of these guys have an assignment, and they look into this, and I don't think they were, I don't know if he had the LSU game. Did he have the game? If he had the game, that's wrong. But
look,
yeah,
suppose Mississippi State is, Ole Miss is playing against Arkansas or something.
Uh-huh.
And then he refereeing that game. And can you remember the days when Ole Miss, Mississippi State beat LSU? You don't think it's some bias right there?
Sure looks like it does.
So why is he still refereeing the game, NCAA?
I don't know.
And he's holding up the LSU.
These guys get their assignments.
Why is he still refereeing
in the beginning of the year?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Get rid of him. He needs to be out of there. Go to the ACC or go to the Midwest or whatever. Go Pacific Pac-10. He don't need to be there. That's all I'm saying.
He might have kids there or something. I don't know.
See, that ain't right.
He was
right.
watching the Tennessee LSU game.
And let me tell you all something that kind of relates to that. And then we got to go to break. Unforgivable.
Okay.
But I remember I was on jury duty downtown here in Memphis, and we went to break. For lunch break. So I'm standing in the line, and I'm talking to Bill Gibbons. I think that's his name. He was in the movies and all. He's the head guy in the law enforcement here, and I'm standing there talking to him.
Well, you're in Homeland Security now.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, he's a big deal. And so I'm talking with him and then he said, well, what are you doing or something to that effect? And I said, well, I'm in the jury pool over here like here. He said, I can't talk to you. What are you doing talking to me? I said, I don't know. He said, well, if you're doing jury duty, I can't talk to you. And I went, whoa, man. He went nuts.
That's what he's supposed to
well,
say.
ask the question first. I mean, we've been talking for 5 minutes. About the time he said, well, what are you doing downtown? Well, I'm on jury duty. Oh, my. He started looking around. he was set up or something, you know.
Yeah, because I've been one of the ones that tried to get out of jury duty.
Yeah, but don't do it. It's part of our civil rights.
I got out of it one time, but
you know how you get out of it?
Yeah, I got out of it one time, but I don't like jury duty, man.
Let me tell you what I did.
I
went close. I've never served on a trial, on a case before. I've got on there and been critiqued by the lawyers who are choosing their jurors, and I'm in there, and someone asked me a question, and one of the guys goes, and I said, well, let me ask you a question. Is that a rhetorical question? Is there something that I need to answer? Isn't this obvious? He stopped. He walked over to his table. He said, we don't want this guy. He might think. He might really listen to us.
You know, when I was in jury, let me tell you something. When I was in jury duty and I was on the case, it went all the way through and everything. Came down to a verdict. Yep. You know, most of the people that's in jury duty with me, man, those people want to get out of there and go home.
Well, sure, after a while, it's kind of intriguing at first, but then after that, so I don't know.
I just took it as something real serious, man, because you got people, you hanging people lives in your hand, man. There ain't nothing to play with.
I believe you'd be fair, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes, I was fair.
So that's all you can do.
I mean, all I can do is look at the evidence.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going with the theatrics or the lawyers or anything. I just want the evidence. I
just want the money. Just pay me off. I want out of here.
Oh, man. All you give is Chuck I make better hanging on the corner.
I know. All right, take me to break, Percy. I got to get out of here.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You're the best. Thanks. Bye. All right. Bye-bye. 452-3094 if you want to jump in and be a part of the show. We're having fun today. It's a cold day, but it's warm inside. This is a nice winter day. I like it. I love it. All right, we'll talk to you in a moment here on Sports Call, where you don't have to play a sport.
To be a sport.
Yes.
I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you. Good bankruptcy might be your last resort. It can help you make a fresh start and move forward with your life. The attorneys at McElroy & Associates help clients in Tennessee and Mississippi recover from financial troubles, prevent foreclosures, and stop those horrible repossessions and those horrible phone calls. Oh, my word. Call them right now at 888-871-3678. Or you can complete a film online. It'll take a moment because the first consultation is free, and it's www.jmcElroy.com. Get in touch with Jimmy today and his staff. He has 2 locations right here in Memphis, one on South Mendenhall, the other one downtown on Jefferson Avenue. Give him a call. I'm telling you, he says it, and it's true. Bad things happen to good people, but you know what? He can put the toothpaste back in the tube for you. He can work miracles. He has a record that is above reproach. Give Jimmy McElroy and his staff a call today. That number again is 888-871-3678. Jimmy McElroy, attorneys.
Sleep Cheap has queen size mattress starting at $99. That's right, only $99. Huge name brand super pillow top sets for $399. Regular price $599. Sleep Cheap will pay the sales tax on all purchases. Same day delivery, no credit check. Sleep Cheap can get anyone approved. Get it today. Sleep on it tonight. Get to one of Sleep Cheap stores today. Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Winchester Road in Memphis, and in West Memphis at North Missouri Street.
Sometimes what a couple really needs is a special date night together away from the kids and any other worries. That's where 117 Prime, Memphis's premier destination for a special meal, comes in. Take a night just to get away from it all and have simply the best meal you can have downtown at Prime. From the perfect steaks to the char-grilled oysters to the sea scallops, the lobster salad or the crab Oscar, the menu at Prime is designed to make every meal better than the last. Take some time just for the two of you. Take some time to go to Prime. And coming soon to downtown, 3rd and Court.
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. If you're in need of a roof, there's no better place to start than Five Ash Roofing. No matter what your situation is, we have you covered. We can walk you through the insurance process without committing fraud like many of my competitors. You'd be surprised how many times salesmen and contractors will manufacture storm damage just so they can get a sale. We do residential, multifamily, and commercial work. We're certified in every form of roofing we offer. Our labor warranties are for the life of the shingle, and we don't charge extra for that. And to my knowledge, there's no other roofing company in Memphis offering that level of security. And if that's not enough, we offer a best price guarantee. We're the official roofer of the University of Memphis and a proud member of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Germantown Hardware is located in the heart of Germantown at the corner of Germantown Road and Poplar Avenue. They offer a wide variety of services to meet your every need. They have the Lawn and Garden Center. They have small engine repairs, custom computer paint match center. They also have the custom lock services, screen and glass repair, lamp repair, and other household repairs. In a word, they're a real hardware store. And they offer major brands like the Yeti coolers. They don't get any better than that. They also have Benjamin Moore paints. They have Steel, Echo, Weber grills. They just got everything all the way to the Honda engines. You got to go by and visit a real hardware store, and that is the Germantown Hardware Store and Paint, like I said, located in Germantown at the Germantown Road and Poplar Crossing.
I was wondering if there's anything on the menu here at Sweetgrass we haven't tried.
I think we've had everything that's on the regular menu, but the chefs here at Sweetgrass are always creating new things.
I love that Sweetgrass works with local farmers and the very freshest ingredients.
The deviled eggs are always something new and amazing.
There's so many little plates and toppings to choose from. It's like the chefs at Sweetgrass created this menu just for us.
Maybe they did. After all, this is where we always come when we want a perfect meal.
And Sweetgrass is right here in the heart of Cooper Road.
The perfect location and the perfect menu. Sweetgrass might be the perfect restaurant.
Well, it certainly is for us. Have you been to Building Materials on Jackson for your home projects lately? They have the materials, service, and deep discounts every day. BMJ has finished oak picture frame cabinets and an unfinished maple and birch. Need countertops, kitchen cabinets, and doors? Go to Building Materials on Jackson. They have thousands of windows in stock, along with one-piece tub and shower units. With hardware, BMJ has been serving the Mid-South for 50 years. Why shop anywhere else? Save 10 to 50% every day. See Terry, Patrick, or Adam for great service and advice. Building Materials, 3820 Jackson Avenue. Call 901-388-4919.
Hi, this is Olympic City medalist Rochelle Stevens, and you're listening to Sports Call with Bill.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break.
All right, we're back here on Sports Call. We're running, rocking, and rolling here. I've often wanted to drown my troubles, but I can't get my wife to go swimming with me. That's my problem. If I could just get her to go swimming.
Well, you better hope she
she's not listening. She wouldn't listen if I paid her to listen. She said, I hear you on with Mug all day long. Why do I want to hear you on the radio?
How do you know, Bill? She might slip up one day. What was that you when you get home?
I said, you must have been listening to another station.
Ain't no dinner cooked.
Well, what's the difference? Ain't no dinner cooked now. No, she does a good job. It's always something there when I get home. Bless her heart.
Well, that's good.
We all change as you get older. You lose interest. Your livelihood changes a little bit. So, you do things differently. But so far, she's still cooking for me. So I like that. That's great.
I know them cookies are good.
Yeah, I don't know why when's she going to make another batch of those? That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yep, be awesome.
All right, so it was good, that conversation with
we got Mel on the line.
Mel?
Got Mel.
I was talking about Mel. I didn't say his name, but I was talking about him. You know what I mean? All right, Mel.
How's it going, Bill?
Chew me out, buddy. Go ahead.
What you talking about?
You gonna chew me out? I know.
What?
I said something about the Tigers that was positive.
About you, you're doing a great job, Bill.
Oh man, you're so kind. Mel, that means a lot. I think you're just doing a little wink and a nod with me here.
No, I won't go, man.
All right. So what else is going on?
What's the stuff going on about Memphis State? What's the big deal?
What's that? About what?
The big deal about Memphis State basketball.
Well, the big deal is You know, they should have won that game against Cincinnati. I mean, it'd have been a great win.
Yeah, they should have never won that game. Should never been close.
You know, they still had a chance to tie that thing up or win it with a 3.
They didn't never get the opportunity.
You know, there at the end, I'm just talking about they threw the ball away. The other guy got it. It kind of reminded me of that.
I believe it's now missed 12 free throws, I believe.
Yeah, well, you can't miss free throws and not, you know, every point counts. Somewhere you're going to pay for it eventually.
I actually looked at, they got called in this morning feeling good, happy and stuff. Y'all got beat. What are y'all happy for?
I know. Well, yeah.
Y'all lost the game.
Yeah, but that puts them in good standings for the NIT, you know, not the in tournament. But
ain't no guarantee you'll get NIT.
No.
That means major. If you don't get no bid, they'll make major. Your team take about NIT, you know.
Well, he'll go just because of this, the uniqueness of Penny Hardaway being the new coach at his old home alma mater, as it were. So he'll be, he'll at least go there, no doubt about it.
There's nothing guaranteed.
No, there aren't any guarantees in life except death, and you know what else?
Right.
Taxes, and they're coming up soon.
Y'all get so happy. I don't understand. What is new this year that's different from last year? What is new from this year from last year?
I think the attitude, you know, they got a better boyfriend than they did the year before.
You know, and nothing new. It's the same old thing.
Well, you know what I mean. They didn't like that. The city.
This year they're going to finish the field. So what's the difference?
This is not the year we're looking at, but we're doing better. We're doing just as good this year.
You're not doing just as good.
No,
like you said, they won 21 games last year.
I know, but like I think the caller said that they didn't play anybody. You know,
they did play somebody.
They had to play conference games, but you know,
so the same team they played last year played this year.
Okay. I believe you. I mean, I believe you probably know better than I do.
That's what I sure do. And how many ranked teams have missed a beat this year?
How many what?
Ranked teams have missed a beat.
I'm not sure. 1, maybe 2, or any. I'm not sure.
Nobody.
Okay.
Last year, they'd be a ranked team. It'd be Houston last year. Missed a beat.
Yeah.
They're ranking in the top 25.
Boy, it would have been nice for them to beat
South Carolina ranked in the top 25. But y'all haven't beat any ranked team this year. So what's y'all so proud of?
I don't know. I mean, when you break it down like what you're saying, you certainly have a point. There's no doubt about it. But
you finished 5th last year in the league. You hit 5th place this year.
They're getting better, though, aren't they?
No, they should be better, but they're not.
They're not getting better.
They had the same team come back from last year with U.S. friends. Because they had all his recruits in. They should be a whole lot better this year, but they're not.
Well, the season's not quite over. We've got a couple of weeks.
Yeah, one more week. And no couple of weeks. One more week.
Yeah.
Next Friday, the season over with. Next Friday.
So who do we play?
Yeah, Tulsa, one more game. That's it.
Who we playing?
Tulsa.
I know it's Tulsa. I was thinking, what about Houston?
That's the one game I got to play.
We'll have to beat Houston, I guess, in the tournament, won't we?
It's not going to happen.
At least they'll meet up. It could happen.
I'll make it to the final.
So you think it'll be Cincinnati and Houston again? Boy, what
most likely. Did
you see that game, though, a few weeks ago between those two?
Right, yeah.
Did you watch it? Wasn't it a good game? It was a very good, exciting game.
Right. Yeah. Most likely going to be the same two teams again, you know.
Well, I mean, they're the better teams.
That's right. So I don't know what y'all saying. Everybody's so happy this morning because y'all say it's close. So I can't understand. It's just pitiful.
Yeah.
Y'all stay close and y'all, man, that's so proud.
What it shows is they've got the goods and they can do it. 1 or 2 turnovers or made free throws, it would change the whole complexion. They could have won that game, and then what would you have said?
If that happened.
I know, but right now, much to your joy and happiness, they're losing.
Right, they're losing.
Right, they're losing, but they could have won. The game was that close. I really thought Cincinnati was many more points better than them.
Like I said, they missed their free throw.
Who did? Cincinnati?
Yeah, they hit the free throw and never been close.
Well, it is part of the game, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
But then that very end there, we had the ball with, 6 seconds to go, and but he ended up throwing it away. Oh, shucks. That was too bad.
Actually, I understand. Y'all just so happy. But next year ain't going to be no better.
Yeah, it's going to be better. They're going to have Wiseman and a couple other guys. Jeffries. It's going to be better.
Yeah, they're all freshman sophomore next year. Not going to win with freshman sophomore.
Why can't they? What do these guys go to the pros like?
They're inexperienced. I would think it's better for next year. So all these seniors going to leave this year. All 5 seniors going to be gone. Now you're going to have freshman sophomore next year.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
They're going to be ready to play
it's going to be tough.
So, you're going to be struggling. First thing we say, they're freshmen. The streets are going to be next year.
Well,
so they're going to win.
What's good about this, however, though, Mel, is that the coach will have been there 1 year. He won't be a rookie now. He'll get these guys in a short amount of time to play as good as his seniors have played this year, because they've got talent, much more talent. You see, except for maybe Jeremiah Martin.
And Martin, let's talk about him now. Junior got on this radio last year, all this year, and complained that boy couldn't shoot. He wasn't no good in anything. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Tony did too. Now also they're praising him now. He can go NBA. He can start on NBA team. But they talk about him like a dog.
I still don't think he's NBA material. No,
he's not. He's going to make the NBA team. He's not going to get drafted. But Tony got on here last week. I mean, he got a chance to make the NBA. He can make it on NBA next year. But they talk about him like a dog last year. He can't shoot. If he one of your best players, y'all ain't going to win.
Yeah.
They were Junior and Tony saying all last year about this guy.
It wasn't that great.
Down like it wasn't nothing.
Mel, it wasn't that great at the beginning of the year. So what do you think happened where he's really playing as well as he could play?
He had 18, 19 points last year.
Okay.
He wasn't great this year. Well, great this year. Holloway made a mistake by putting it at the small forward. That's the mistake Holloway made by starting Harris and Lomax. He never started Harris and Lomax again of the season.
Right.
So the 2 little high school players and put this senior to the side.
Uh-huh.
It would mess them up if they won a lot of
I agree. Yeah.
Martin had 18 points last year. But they're going to bring these 2 little rookies in, inexperienced. They know no better. I start both of them. Everything you have to got a slow start.
Yeah, you're right.
But Junior and Tony downgraded this boy last year, talk about him like a dog.
He sure looks good right now.
They criticize him for
he looks good right now.
And everything. Junior ain't called in this much this year.
He will.
He had nothing to say, so everything he said went wrong. So he said, Tommy Harris is going to be great. He said, Little Mesh going to be great. He had Chris Tubber. He's got all these ball players over there. Tubber ain't recruiting none of them. Well, they're on the team now. They're not doing anything, all these ball players.
You got a point. You got a great point, Mel.
Little Mesh on East last year.
Yeah.
He got Boyce on East last year. His son on East last year. All these East players you talking about, and them trying to be worth anything. But they criticize Tubber for not recruiting these players. Tubber knew these boys can play. They wouldn't even try to recruit the guys.
I think they can. It's not over yet, You wait. When they finally get that West High School team together, I think they'll end up being number 1 in the nation again.
We go back to high school, they will. Not in college.
It's kind of different in college, isn't it?
Yeah, they would never be number 1.
Nuts. I know it.
Lomax and had no business being on the Division I team.
I'm not impressed with him either, I'll tell you. I was hoping for something, but I'm not seeing it.
They joined say he wanted to recruit Lomax.
Yeah.
He had the best team in the country. He didn't get no East player. And all these other hypocrites they called last year, too.
Yeah.
We got all that talk. But y'all be proud of what y'all lost. Be proud. You're going to lose again. Be proud again when you lose in the tournament. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, just take care of yourself.
Thanks, Mel.
Okay, then.
Good old Mel. Yeah, 452-3094. He really does explain it beautifully, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What he doesn't explain, though, and he's looking at things that are black and white, no doubt about it, where I think a lot of this joy and all this is seeing how they feel like they're on the cusp of probably breaking it wide open. Maybe some in this year, and maybe next year. But Mel's got a point that the seniors will be gone. Davenport's been playing good, and these other guys. But
I think Martin put 22 up. Is he a senior?
Yeah, I think so. He's a senior. Yeah. He's had 2 recent 40-plus games. So,
yeah.
But he's taking control, and that wasn't what Penny did when he started. He let these guys who had all this ink and notoriety, and like Tyler Harris, so he could go out there and shoot, and he did when he first came out. He looked the part, but people wise up and put big, fast guys on him, and he can't shoot when you got that kind of defense against you.
Nope. It's hard to do.
And then when he does find an opening, he rushes it or tries to make up for it. He doesn't have that fluidity they would normally have had or had in high school. So it takes time and work and effort.
That's right.
So that's where he is.
Practice.
You talking about Allen Iverson? Practice. Yeah, Allen Iverson was a small guy, but boy, he was an amazing basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
You have any idea how good he was?
Man. Speed. That dude had some speed.
Well, he was great. I mean, but he was at that time there was a huge amount of talented players in the NBA. Now, if he were playing today, he'd be way up there as considered, the top. Right now, you got guys like Kawhi Leonard, who pulled a game out the other night because he's a champion. And then you got guys like Russell Westbrook. You see that block on the Grizzlies the other? And then you got all this. I'm trying to think of some other players, but not many. So, I mean, Allen Iverson would fit in there immediately, and people would be wanting to go see his games. He was great to watch. So, anyway, all right. A penny saved is a government oversight. I just wanted to share these little things with you because you never know. Some might hit home and you go, wow, that makes sense. All right. Where are we, Mr. Producer?
We got Dan on the line. And we got Sam on hold.
Okay. All right, Dan, you're on the line. You're on Sports Call. So good to hear from you.
Hey, Bill. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Other than I got to get a knee replacement, but other than that, I'm fine.
They've been telling me that for 3 years, Bill. I keep putting it off.
You like living with the pain?
Well, I like playing softball, so I play about 10 months out of the year. So
I know you do. You're an athlete. You've always enjoyed sports, and you know them. You know stories about the pros and all. So talk to us.
Well, I just caught about the Cincinnati game. I think I hate it the way it ended. But,
I do too.
But that's just the way it goes. I mean, I'd like to see him at least get a chance to shoot somebody. And I was thinking more in that minute that the short time we had, Tyler Harris can do one thing. He can hit a bomb from way out.
Yeah.
So I was thinking they were going to throw everybody at him. And I said, well, Tyler will be open if they do that.
Sure.
Everybody was going to guard him when he had the ball. I don't blame him. That was Tom Just, what the Cincinnati coach told him.
You know, that kind of reminds me of that tension, that build-up, that drama was the same thing in that championship game against North Carolina and Georgetown. You remember when the guy ran, but the guy didn't throw it to him. He faked. It's like he was going to throw it. And I can't remember who it was, Joe Black or
Michael Jackson, I believe.
Well, no, but I'm talking about for the Tar Heels. Yeah, who was that that intercepted, and he went into the backcourt, and he totally forgot, the guy, Michael Jackson, forgot that he was out of the picture, so this time he threw it, but the defender came back and intercepted it. Kind of like last night. It was like, and that was the last possession, something that he was going to win, lose, or go into overtime. So it was, and we had that opportunity against Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I think we got to be patient with the two freshman point guards.
Yeah.
But with saying that, there's a really good kid at one of these charter schools. He's top 50.
Okay.
So, I'm just saying, you remember, Bill, I called you about 2 months ago, or maybe a month ago, and said that, signing two point guards is great here out of Memphis, but if they don't work out, it's hard to convince a kid you've already got two sophomore point guards next year to come here.
Yeah, that's tough to do.
Doing well recruiting, and point guards, I think, the easiest position to recruit in college. I really do.
Are they more like they're point guards, but they have but they want to be a 2? You know.
Yeah. Well, Tyler almost is a 2, really. I mean, you watch his game and the way he comes off picks and everything. Right. I think he's got a learning curve. That's for sure. That's obvious. And I don't know, maybe they need to bring Muggsy Bogues in or somebody like that to work with him.
Exactly. Wouldn't that be something?
You remember Keith Jenkins? That guy could flat out score. And I think he was smaller than Tyler. Yeah.
What about Harrison over there at Ole Miss, too? He was another small one. I'm trying to think of
and you had Muggsy. You had the guy that won the slam dunk contest with the Reeboks pumping up.
Yeah, I know him. I know his name. Yeah. He played at North Carolina State. Spud Webb.
Yeah, Spud Webb. I mean, it's proven that, even Isaiah Thomas wasn't that big. He was maybe 5'11", maybe 5'10".
He was amazing, though, to be able to win a dunk contest. That was, I don't know which was most shocking. Spud Webb winning the dunking contest or Rick Barry's son winning the slam dunk contest. You remember?
Yeah.
So how did this happen?
It used to be fun to watch. Now you know the players. I mean, I couldn't tell you. I know the guy played for Oklahoma, and I watched the game, but I still couldn't figure out who it was last night.
I didn't know any of them.
No, the best players don't do it. That's a shame. I'd love to see. The last really good player that did it was probably I can't believe I just forgot his name. The guy that played here in Memphis, that played at North Carolina and everything.
I can't remember. No.
Vince Carter. Vince Carter.
Yeah.
He was the last great player to do it, I believe.
Yeah. Yes. He did that where he puts the crook of his arm in the cylinder and hangs
I remember when he jumped over that 7-footer in the Olympics.
Yeah.
For France. I mean, he's done some amazing dunks. And
he's amazing.
I bet he plays next year.
He just keeps going, doesn't he?
Yeah, he don't mind being that role player. I mean, he's not a 40 game night anymore.
He's like
he'll have his moments.
Yeah, he's like what's his name? Roger Federer, who just won his 100th match this weekend. Yeah. These guys are just they're so well made, mentally and physically. They just continue to win and continue to play, and they're blessed that they don't get injured to a point where it's going to hurt them in their career. Yeah, kind of like what happened to Penny when he blew his knee.
Penny just came back to us, and he had so much pressure after Shaq left and everything.
Yeah,
he forced himself back. That was not his mistake. But hell, he still played 14 years, I believe.
Yeah, he was with Phoenix and some other. Was he with New York?
Phoenix, and
yeah. Okay. All right. Listen, I think I got. Is my main? He's already dropped. Don't worry. Don't hurry.
I'm sorry, Sam. I apologize to Sam. I didn't mean to hold you up, Bill.
No, that's fine. He'll call back. No, it's good to talk to you. I know we don't get.
Yeah, I think the one thing the Grizzlies, at first I didn't like the trade, but I like the center.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people they could keep and still have a pretty good team, and I think grit and grind. A guy explained it really well last night. I was talking to about it. It doesn't mean to slow the ball down. It just means to play hard and tough it up, and play physical. It doesn't mean
speed necessarily.
Yeah. Shoot the ball at the 4-second mark.
Yeah.
We can still play fast pace and still be physical and do grit and grind.
Right.
And I think it's showing that right now with Powell, everybody. I mean, with Mark out, because that center's a center. He's a back to the basket, hook shot, meat hook, the whole 9 yards.
Right, and maybe and maybe that chemistry with the four core that we had before, it worked well for Marc Gasol to play the way he played. But I've always thought he never played like a center, like a strong.
No, he got out of that center when he first come here, but he really got out when he started shooting the threes. It kind of took away from his game, I think.
It did, and he faded. I mean, he made enough.
Double. Yeah, him and Noah both. I mean, I would sign both of those guys back next year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's why
go with that.
And that's why that was why Zach Randolph was able to get a bunch of double-doubles because, he didn't have any help under the boards. He got him himself.
No, that's true, yeah. And I don't think Zach's even playing now, is he? I know they bought him out when they traded him, but it seems like somebody, especially like Golden State or somebody, would have him just to,
I'm telling you, he pays dividends. It might not be a
whole
lot.
Zach's game, he could play a lot longer than most people because he's going to be, back to the basket.
Sure.
And nobody likes guarding because it's, you play those big guys, you just bounce off of them.
Not only that, he reminds me of the way Larry Bird played the low post. I mean, he can't jump over a Germantown phone book, but I'm going to tell you what, their position is impeccable. And they move you out with their hips, and they're in position to get the rebound.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Those
it's
guys
just basic fundamentals.
They know how to rebound. Yeah, they know when the ball's going, when it's shot. What side of the rim to get on. He's just a smart player.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, I mean, I don't even think he was very injury prone in his career. He didn't get injured.
Talking about Zach?
Yeah, Zach.
Well, he did 1 year. We had him, but he got over it. But it wasn't nagging injuries. Once it was over, it was over. Kind of like
Zach probably had more games suspended for drug charges than he did.
That was up there, though, right? That was up in
that was in Portland, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't believe 30 for 30 hadn't done a show on the trail, what do they call them?
The Trailblazers?
They nicknamed them the Weed Blazers or something like that.
Oh, I've never heard it.
Yeah, they named them the Jailblazers is what they call them.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you. I'll look for that.
Yeah, no, I said they should do that.
I know it.
That'd be a good idea.
That's fine.
Well, I'll build your lines up long enough, my friend.
Anytime. You know that, Dan.
Okay, guys, y'all have a good one.
You do the same. All right, Dan.
All right.
452-3094 is our number if you want to jump in and be a part of it. Sammy, if you're listening, we're sorry you had to. It's hard for me to get off the line. I enjoy talking to you guys so much.
Call back, Sam.
Most of the guys, most of the announcers, I mean, the sports guys, they throw their listeners off like, and I just don't like that. I like to talk with them, give them an opportunity to tell me what's on their mind. I do. That's just the way I am.
That's what,
relationship builder. There you go.
Exactly.
Now if they're rude and things like that, then I'll continue until I can get them good. No, I'm just kidding. But most of our guys aren't. We're really interested in what it is we're talking about.
Bill's a typical Georgia fan. That's one thing I can say. Don't give up. That's for
you don't give up, do you?
That's all right.
Sometimes we don't know where we're going, but we don't give up.
Especially delivering them pizzas.
How'd you know? Let's see. I got to find another joke for my friends out there in Radio Land. The two peanuts were walking in the park and one was assaulted.
You said that one Thursday.
Just checking on you, see if you were listening to me. And I just wanted to make sure you were listening to me. There's got to be another good one here. Let me just go to my mind and see if I can remember. It said, let's see. She always arrives. She's always late. Her ancestors arrived on the June flower.
I've heard that.
And that's like, oh, shut up. Well, heck, you only do the show every day. Somebody's got to say, what was that one that Bill told? I got to remember it. And then I come up with it. They go, there it is. I got to remember this one. And I want to tell it to somebody. Some guy says, I'm on a 30-day diet. So far, I've lost 15 days.
Oh, man, that
was good. I married Miss Wright. I just didn't know her first name was Always. I'm here always. All right. Is it time to take a top of the hour break? Yeah, it's about that time. I guess we can play with the minutes. We usually go over most of the time, so we take one early. It won't matter.
It won't matter.
The FCC's not that bad a guy.
You know what we ought to do in the last 30 minutes?
What's that?
We ought to do a trivia question.
We could do a trivia question.
I hadn't done one in a while.
Yeah, we ought to do one. So we can find one.
All right.
You do sports or movies? What do you want to do?
Well, it's a sports show.
Well, who cares? Sometimes I get outside the lines. Sometimes I go off the side of the road here and there. So, but anyway, I'll look up something during break and we'll see what we can come up with. All right, we'll be back after this short sports call. Time out.
Diamond girl, sugar shine. Can I find you? And you're mine. Oh, my love, like a
There's something special going on every night at Next Door in Cooper Young, Memphis' great neighborhood bar. Monday nights, enjoy all-you-can-eat wings. Tuesday nights, join me for free trivia starting at 7. Wednesday nights, the entire wine selection is half off if you buy by the bottle. One of the best deals you'll get anywhere in town. There's no friendlier place in Memphis than Next Door. Great food, great specials, and sports on high-def TVs everywhere you look. Come in and enjoy the greatest escape anywhere, a great neighborhood bar. Come in and enjoy Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young.
Compare Mazda first. There's no better time than right now to come to Gwatney Mazda in Germantown during Mazda's Celebrate the Season event. We have great selection and special offers and savings on our entire inventory of award-winning Mazda vehicles. Come in and test drive yours today and see for yourself. Mazda, premium cars at affordable prices. Here at Gwatney Mazda in Germantown, 7300 Winchester, where we make car buying simple.
Imagine you're craving the perfect Bloody Mary with just what you want in it and no danger of some bartender spraying some club motto on you. That's what the Bloody Mary bar at Sunrise is all about. Every ingredient you could possibly want, from peppers to spices to special surprises. There's no way you can possibly get a better Bloody Mary just for you than the one you make for yourself. Come to Sunrise for fantastic fresh fast food, but stay for a leisurely Bloody Mary of your own invention. Make it a Bloody Mary day. Make it Sunrise.
Hey, it's March. Let me do your part.
What do you mean?
I know what you're going to say. Everybody knows what you're going to say.
No, you don't.
Hey, it's March, and you know what that means?
What?
Tournament time, and nothing goes better with the high-flying excitement of basketball action like Central Barbecue.
Okay, I was going to say that.
Of course you are. Enjoy some delicious Central Barbecue ribs while you cheer against Duke. Some pulled pork while you hate on Kansas.
Oh, that's not bad.
See, I told you I knew what you were going to say.
Well, what am I going to say now?
Well, you'll just crown another mention of Central Barbecue.
And now?
Nothing. We're out of time.
Hello, this is Penny Hardaway. When I'm home in Memphis, I listen to Sports Call with Bill Moore, where you don't have to play a sport to be a sport.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I met you like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah,
Elvis.
Well, my hand is shaking.
All right, we're back on Sports Call. I'm doing a little bit of Elvis melody there.
Who do you think of when your hands switch look? I'm in love. I'm all shook up.
All right, so a typhoon rips through a cemetery. Hundreds dead. All righty.
That ain't even right.
That's not right, but that's what happened. What do cats eat for breakfast? What do cats eat for breakfast? They eat Mice Krispies. Mice Krispies. Huh? How much does a pirate pay for corn? A buccaneer. All right, those are terrible. But anyway, I just thought I'd share those with you. Let me see if I got something here. What does the average Alabama get on his SATs?
Oh, this should be interesting.
Drool. How about that, huh, you Bama fans?
Oh, goodness.
Is it my imagination, or can someone tell me for sure? Is Nick Saban losing his coaches? All the good ones seem to be leaving.
Seems to be.
One just left, too. Another one has been there a while. Been with him a while. I don't know. But anyway. We got anybody else on the line right now?
We got Unforgetful on again.
Oh, okay.
I got a joke for you.
Oh, okay. Let's see if he can make me laugh.
I got a joke since you were talking about jokes.
Yeah.
This is one that is made up, and I want you to rate it from 1 to 10.
All right.
Okay. What do the Democratic Party have in common with some of the people that go to a house party?
They go to house parties? What do they have in common?
Yes.
Democrats, I have no idea. Wished I could know.
You want me to tell you?
Please, let us all know.
They both holding up the wall.
Holding up the wall. That's terrible. That's the worst thing I've heard in a long time. You made that up, huh?
Man, that just made me know you ain't black.
Oh, that must be a black slang thing. I got you, Daddy. I got you.
Yeah, do you get
it? Unforgetful. That is forgetful. I got to tell you.
Oh, man.
Well, thanks for sharing. What was that?
You don't get why the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party and some of the people that go to the House Party have in common?
Yeah, I don't know what
and they're holding up the wall. You don't get it.
I don't get it. It must be something that's
the border wall, holding up the border.
Oh yeah. House Party. What is it? I don't get the House Party. What are they doing? I heard okay. Thank you, and forgive me. Keep calling. All right. So, one more. What do you get when you put 32 Arkansas cheerleaders in one room?
Oh, goodness.
Come on. What do you get when you put 32 Arkansas cheerleaders in one room? A full set of teeth.
Oh, man.
No good? Okay. All right, let's go to Tennessee. That's the one I want.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
It's got to be here. Hold on, folks. I'm going to get it for you. Here it is. Don't leave. You're going to stay here. All right, this is the finale, so drum roll, please. Cymbals clang. All right, crash. Why did Tennessee choose orange as their team color? Why did Tennessee choose orange for their team color? Well, listen, you can wear it to the game on Saturdays. You can hunt on Sundays and pick up trash along the highway the rest of the week.
That one ain't funny, B.
Where's my, you know good well.
No, there ain't no drum rolling, no laughing, no applause for that.
Nothing for that?
Nothing for that.
Okay. Well, I thought it should be. Doggone it. This wasn't personal. This is just the way it is out there. I'm sure they had. All right, I'll give you the Georgia one and then I'll quit. Okay, Georgia's not bad. Georgia, because you can't do really things bad with Georgia. They're just a good school. Everybody likes them, you know. Even the teams that don't like them really like them.
Okay.
How do you get a Georgia graduate off his porch? You pay him for the pizza. So, okay, that's it. All right.
What are you trying to say? That you don't get no education at Georgia?
Well, some get away with a diploma, but they can't get a job. You know how that is. All right. What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. A gummy bear. Shut up. All right, so that's it. Now, so much for sports on that one, right? Why didn't Dracula's wife get to sleep? Because of his coffin.
Oh, man.
These are awful. These are awful. Should I do stand up?
No.
All right, then I'll do sit down, but it's going to be the same. Here we go. Now, this is where hell is where the police are German. All right, let me start over. Heaven is where the police are British, the chefs are Italian, the mechanics are German, the lovers are French, and it's all organized by the Swiss. That's heaven. Hell is where the police are Germans, the chefs are British, the mechanics are French, the lovers are Swiss, and it's all organized by the Italians. Now, that's the truth. There's a lot to that. You think about it. Swiss, they got the Swiss thermometer. They got all this. You know, everything is precise. That's where the money goes. That you don't want to pay taxes. And of course, the French are personified as the romantic city. They're the lovers, all that kind of stuff. They want to take a shot.
The romance language.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, the Germans, mechanics. They make those big, beautiful Mercedes, and so forth.
The Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, so do you have a trivia question you want to throw out there?
I have several here. I found one that was kind of interesting. It goes, hold on, let me see. Okay. What sport used the term home run long before baseball?
All right, that'd be great. I mean, somebody ought to try to answer that if you're listening and are you interested in it. It's 452-3094 is the, I think I know the answer to that, though.
Okay.
Is it a grasshopper?
Similar.
That was the whole idea. That's similar. You were quick to say. All All right, so that's one. You want to do another one? Just
let's see if we can find one here.
All right, I thought you had 2 or 3 already ready.
Let's see. Okay. What was the first sport in which women were invited to compete at the Olympics?
That's good. There's a lot of choices in that.
That's that's pretty decent one there.
All right, so what else is going on? We got Tulsa. It's the last game, home game for the Memphis Tigers. I don't know what their record is, but something tells me they do pretty good. Our number 452-3094, if you want to jump in, be a part of the show. Maybe you can answer those trivia questions and what we have to offer. If you do, we've got, we got Chick-fil-A passes. I also have the burger joint passes. I have, Central Barbecue. What else do we have that's available?
T-shirt.
Yeah, and Germantown car wash passes. Right. So we don't play. We all quit school because they had recess. Anyway. All right, so anybody on the line tonight? I thought I saw you over there hand on the phone.
Got somebody coming in right now. Let me check.
All right. All right. We appreciate you being part of the show. We always enjoy that. Let's see.
Bill?
Yes.
We have the one and only Vincent on the line.
Oh, man. He doesn't answer trivia questions, so we'll be glad to talk to him about sports. All right, Vince, you're on.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. Shane.
Good afternoon, Vincent.
Hey, Shane, I'm sure you feel a little bit better for Tennessee demolished Kentucky the other day.
Yeah, I mean, they played well, but, there was still, I think they had 5 turnovers. I think they've had 11 turnovers, total in the last 2 games.
Well, they're going to play a perfect game.
Yeah, well, I understand that. But they had.
Hey, Bill, do you hear this clown, this team demolished Kentucky on national TV?
Where did this come from?
He complained about turnovers.
I'm just saying they've only had 11 turnovers in 2 games. That's pretty daggum good.
Yeah, but it depends on who you're playing.
Yeah, I understand.
You got athletes that are just as fast as Kentucky. Well, anyway,
Bill, I mean, Shane, when you beat the number 7 team in the nation by 20 points, you just said great game.
Yeah, it was a great game. But, hey,
Did you get the turnovers that you caused?
I can't believe it.
Not turning over the ball.
I've never heard this either, Vincent. I don't understand it. He's getting cocky now. Getting a little cocky.
That's all like Allen Iverson when they said, use the practice.
Practice. I know I use that. Practice.
Hey, I'm praising them. 5 turnovers, that's good.
Oh, okay, well, now we're on the same page.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm going to make a comment about the Tigers.
Sure.
I'm convinced now that the Tigers could win the tournament. I didn't think that they could, but considering the fact that they almost beat Temple by double digits, they came back and almost beat Cincinnati on their home floor. They beat UCF by 20 at home and could have won the game down there. I mean, those are the top teams in the league. And they played them pretty evenly on their home floor. Now, Houston is another thing, but Houston just lost to, UCF the other night.
They did?
Yeah, they lost. Where were you? You're here, but they lost by 5 points.
My middle name is Ostrich.
Oh, my God. Hey, Bill, your comedian license just expired.
No, they have not. They were renewed.
They just expired, Bill.
They're renewed. Listen.
It's
timing, man. Timing is everything.
Don't sing, don't tell a joke, you'll be all right, okay?
If I don't do that, I don't do anything because I barely do sports. So I got to bring the other stuff in to pump me up. All right, go ahead.
I'm kind of feeling a little bit better about the Tigers' chances. At first, I was thinking there was no way possible they were going to be able to do that.
What about Tulsa this weekend? How strong is Tulsa? Didn't Tulsa beat UCF or any of these other teams?
Tulsa, I mean, I'm not putting them down. I don't want to be condescending toward them, but I don't think that they're a team that we need to be afraid of or anything like that. I mean, they've lost some games that, they could have easily should have won, but I think Memphis, if we can
have to keep on Davenport that play for against Tennessee and have him to show up in the tournament.
Yeah,
I think that would be good. Because I think Jeremiah Martin at this point is going to be Jeremiah Martin. We would need Tyler Harris to hit some outside shots. We would need
Jones was hitting. He had a pretty baseliner in that game.
So what now?
Jones.
Jones got some talent, man. It's going to take him another year or so to develop to be what he can become. He's a good passer.
Yep.
He's not afraid of the moment, and I think he's going to be a good player down the road. I can envision him being a really good small forward because his body probably going to feel like he looks like he could easily get up to like 215, 220.
Yeah, he's I agree with that.
And I think that he could easily be a good small forward, as time goes by. But anyway,
where's this game being played Friday? Is it our place or Tulsa?
Tulsa.
Okay.
The game on the 9th is being played here. That's the last game. The last home game of the regular season.
Is we're here?
Huh?
What'd you say? This game with Tulsa?
Yeah, it's here in Memphis.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Way to go, Mr. Producer.
Yeah,
It'll hurt my feelings here. I would have said Tulsa and believed it.
Well, Bill, people hurt your feelings and you just have to keep on stepping.
But I have, he never makes mistakes, and that's the thing that throws me.
Who never makes mistakes?
Shane.
I thought the game was at Tulsa.
Shane never makes mistakes.
Bill thought the game was at Tulsa.
Yeah.
Well, he just openly, publicly confessed that he's a Tennessee fan, but he shouldn't know anything about Memphis. He's a Tennessee fan.
Yeah, well, not Memphis as much as Tennessee. He could tell you Tennessee all day and never miss it.
Yeah, I can understand that. But anyway,
Memphis basketball.
One other thing I want to talk about was the NBA playoffs. I'm not really convinced that Golden State is going to win it this year.
I think it's Houston. Don't you think it's Houston?
I'm really not sure who's going to win it. I just don't know if I can believe in Golden State right now.
Guys don't seem to have that cohesiveness. There's something missing.
Okay, they got Cousins there. And
he may have messed up the chemistry, actually.
He's like 6'11", 285. He wants to shoot 3 pointers.
Well, that's the same with Marc Gasol.
My question is why? The whole point of bringing him down was to have him down
low. Exactly.
And double teams to open up the floor for everybody else.
Well,
he has to go out there and do some behind the back dribbling.
Well, that's because Steve Kerr walks right up to him and looks him right in the belly button and he says, "Listen, you better stay down low." And he looks at him and goes, "Yeah, really? I don't think so." So it's hard to control him. It's always been hard to control him. He thought maybe, well, look, common sense. You go down there, the logic is, wait a minute. You got Thompson and you got Curry. You don't need to be outside. None of that. Draymond Green can shoot outside as well.
Well, I remember one game he went like 2 for 9 from the three. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It was one of those games that they lost, and I can see an issue developing, because he's been a go-to man, and they get in crunch time, and they got to decide who the go-to man is going to be.
Yeah.
And that's normally the go-to guy is usually going to be either Curry or Durant. And with Durant being
and Durant, I forgot about Kevin. So my goodness.
Yeah. How you forget about Durant? I can't believe you made that statement, Bill.
Yeah, it's that ostrich thing.
Yeah, you tried that joke twice, dude. Seriously.
What's that? What'd you say?
I said you tried that joke twice.
No, I said it was applicable.
No, Bill.
It certainly was. You said you can't believe, and I was giving you a reason why you couldn't believe it.
Hey, everybody's been talking about we need to impeach Trump. We need to impeach Biden for the.
They've been trying that for 7 years now, I guess. How long have I been on the air here? 7 or 8 years.
Well, anyway, so I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna tell you, if Embiid comes back healthy, I like Philadelphia's chance.
Yeah, really.
And I also like the fact that.
What about Boston? How do you feel before you say anything? What about Boston's falling apart too, aren't they?
Well, they're not what they were. I don't know what happened, but something is going on. Maybe there's some trade talks and stuff that they know. And these trade scenarios.
Gordon Hayward is not what he was in Utah.
it's kind of messed up the camaraderie on a lot of teams. Like, if you know the star player want to get rid of you, I mean, how can you trust that guy on the court? You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like LeBron James, I mean, that's a circus out there in LA. I mean, he pretty much had made the decision that, hey, we need to get rid of about 4 or 5 guys with one guy. And the 4 or 5 guys that they're talking about getting rid of were the pieces that they got that's really making them effective this year. You got Kyle.
He's way too powerful. He's way too powerful. He's over there making movies with cartoons, and he's also doing this thing that they're promoting now where he's the producer of this 1,000-yard or 100-yard, whatever it is. How can he concentrate on that and play basketball? And then he's telling people who should be on the team or not? No.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's
I think he's forgotten about what brought him to the party.
Yeah. But anyway, I think the teams they got is not a bad team. It's just that with that type of situation in the locker room, you just never know who's going to react. You know, some guys are not mature enough to handle all that possible trade talk stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It affects them emotionally and mentally. And so it's going to be interesting moving forward. I mean, I would think that the league would make sure LeBron makes the playoffs just because it's LeBron, but I don't see them doing anything in the playoffs.
Yeah, no. And they'll try to manage to get him in the playoffs because he represents a lot of revenue.
Let me ask you one last question. Is Jaren Jackson Jr. going to play again this year?
Is who going to play again?
Jaren Jackson.
I'm not sure yet. You know, I heard he was injured, but it's not really bad. Was it a bad thigh bruise or something? It was just. I'll find out for you. That's what I'll do.
You know, I don't get all this. Well, we want to win just enough games not to give up the 8th pick.
Yeah.
And one day you're playing to win, one night you're playing to lose. It's like, what is that?
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to lose. Not yet, anyway. I mean, we should have. We gave the Clippers a game. We should have won that game. We could have won that game, is what I mean. And then they just don't. They're not closing it. See, that's what Penny's got the Tigers thinking, that they're closers. They're winners. They're going to get it done. But that's not the case with the Bickerstaff. It's sort of like they get down and lose by 2 to the Bulls. I said this last week. We've got to put some points in escrow so that we don't have to get into the situation. But they don't. They play point for point, basket for basket. Their defense is awful. Huh?
Well, they almost beat the Thunder, which is a good team. I mean, they almost beat the Thunder.
I mean, we got it. We're just missing it by that much. They just need to suck it up and get it done. You know,
you know what? I'm gonna say this one last thing. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
The Valentina's guy, I like him a lot better than Gasol already.
Well, I know he's been good praise. That's right. You know why? Because he's playing the position properly.
Yeah, I mean, he's a physical guy. He don't take no mess.
Right. And he's playing center. He's playing down low. He's not trying to get out, let Zach get the rebounds, and he can shoot threes and look pretty. Like the same thing Boogie Cousins is doing out there, and they don't need another shooter. They need someone to get the defensive, offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think, and I think Memphis has found himself a decent shooter down at Avery Bradley. I mean, he's doing pretty well, and Dylan Brooks, he's hurt, but you got Jaren Jackson.
Yep.
Next year, I mean, I can see our team being a lot better if we can get Valentinas to come back.
Right. And what I want to do is get into playoffs. We get into playoffs, anything can happen. It's not we get into playoffs like we did a few years ago, and who cares, we're in the playoffs. Why can't we break down the door and get into the big game? Well, wait a minute. You got to get in the playoffs first. And like I said, things can happen.
All right, well, listen, good for you. Thanks for your time today.
You're welcome.
And just stay away from that head and the ostrich.
You picked up on it right away. That was funny.
That joke is banished from the hell.
Oh, that was, it was funny, or you wouldn't be saying this. You just want to give me my props, baby. Give me some props.
No, the props have been knocked up.
Okay, no props. Okay. Well, thank you. We love you. Thank you, Vince. See you, buddy. Bye-bye. All right, that was Vincent. Always got an answer. All the callers pretty much have an answer. And that's what this show's about. Give us a call. Give us a reason for why you're frustrated or you're elated, one or the other, about your favorite team and things that are going on. I love it.
I tend to agree with Vince. I think Memphis could win that tournament easily at home. I mean, they went to Cincinnati and, hung in there.
But can they play in such short amount of time very important games? That's where the mental capacity comes in. I'm telling you, these guys have got but it's going to be tough on Penny, especially because this is where it gets down to crunch time of coaching, getting these guys to believe in what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And he might get frustrated. He might hit a wall. I don't want this to happen. But wouldn't that be awesome if that were the case?
It's very possible it could happen.
I think if we get into semifinals, then we're gonna play that game like we've never played a game before.
Mm-hmm.
It's on our floor, so we're fortunate to have it here at the Forum.
A bye would have helped, but home field.
No, that's right.
It helps a lot too.
Look at it like when you were playing at the playground. You didn't want to sit out. You wanted to play. You didn't want to wait a minute. It's a make it, take it. So you want to play as hard as you can to win that game. So the next three coming on, you don't leave the floor. The other team that you just beat has to leave and wait for their turn about 3 or 4 rotations down the road. That's not good.
Nope.
That's the way you've got to play this game. You've got to think like they're coming to take us off the floor, and this is what we enjoy doing, or we wouldn't be here.
That's right.
That's the way you think about things. You get passionate about it. You mean business. All right, gang, I'm going to leave it right there. How about that?
I'm gonna,
very excited. Yes, what?
I'm going to give the answers to those.
Oh, go ahead. Give the question first and then lay the answer on.
Okay. First question was, what sport used the term home run long before baseball? What do you think?
I think it's cricket.
Ding, 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 ding.
Hey, what do you know? Thank you, sir.
All right. And the second question was...
Don't have a clue. Don't have a clue.
What was the first sport in which women were invited to compete at the Olympics?
I was going to say boxing. Oh, they still haven't done that yet. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Let me guess. Let me think. Is it track and field?
No.
Swimming?
No. It's a sport you love.
Tennis?
Ding, ding.
Really? That was the first one? No kidding.
That was the very first sport in which women was invited to the Olympics.
How about that?
It was the 1900 Games in Paris. Charlotte Cooper of Great Britain was the first ever gold medalist.
I knew that. No, I didn't. But, what other sports now? Well, they have softball. Do they still have that?
I think so.
Yeah. Boy, the American team was good, man. Back when they had it about 3 or 4, I guess, Summer Olympics ago. I can't remember. But, yeah, that's awesome. And they're bringing other things into the sports, too. I know when they, like in the winter sports, they didn't have, skateboarding and all that. Yeah, and they put that in. And, snowboarding and all that
pipes
stuff.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. All right, gang, we appreciate you joining us today. You could have been anywhere else, but you listened to us, and that meant a lot to us. Means a lot to us. I'll get it right. All right, so for our sponsors especially and our listeners, you guys have called in. We had fun today. Let's do it again tomorrow, or at least the next day, depending on what my circumstances are. So for my partner in crime, that would be Snakeskin, Shane. I want to thank him. I want to thank Georgia for joining me. She's my girl. All you guys, appreciate it. I'm Wild Bill. This is a sports call where you don't have to play a sport.
To be a sport.